welcome back. And I know it's Thursday today, it's not Monday, so I apologize for not getting a video up on Monday. I'm actually thinking to do a video every Monday and every Thursday and just see how that goes for me. And I also want to ask you really quick, it's the holiday season, what are you most looking forward to this holiday season? So with that being said, let me just jump into today's video topic, and I'm going to share a little story with you and explain a bit about how I fell off track and how I chose to get back on track. So I went out last week and I was just showing some people around who had come to visit me, and I actually had pizza. Now I follow a gluten-free, dairy-free, processed sugar, no caffeine, no alcohol lifestyle. That's how I just personally choose to eat. And it happens that I had pizza and I ate it and it wasn't even that good to begin with. And then I just kind of fell off, and all of a sudden all this shame and guilt set in for eating that slice of pizza. And I was like, I didn't understand where it was coming from, and it took me about 5 days to really understand where that shame and that guilt came from. And I felt shameful for falling off track. I felt shameful for not sticking to how I chose to eat. And it just got into this very vicious cycle of shame and guilt. And I just kind of was in this just tumbling everywhere. And I went out and I had cookies and I had some more pizza. It was like I was self-loathing and self-destructing myself because I was carrying so much shame and guilt. But one thing I understood from this incident that happened was, when we have shame and when we have guilt, is where all the self-loathing, self-destruction, hating on ourselves, that's where it comes from. I couldn't even hear my own voice, and I knew I wanted to get back on track, but I was struggling to get back on track. So what I understood was that I was so engrossed in the shame and in the guilt that I was feeling that I was letting it consume me. And I understood after those 5 long days that it was okay to let those feelings come through. I needed to feel that. I needed for that to come up. I needed to release it. That's why it happened. What I learned from that was where you put your attention on. So I was putting all my attention on shame and just so caught up in this vicious cycle of feeling really shameful, and then making that shift into, okay, moving forward on my purpose. So what really got me to understand that it was okay that I was feeling shameful and I was feeling guilty, but I didn't need to feed the guilt and feed the shame. And I continued to feed the shame and the guilt by just eating without thinking what I was putting in my mouth. Once I could step back and just look at it from a point of observation, I could really understand that I was feeding the shame and guilt, because the shame and guilt cannot exist without me, because it's within me. They become a part of me. They kind of attach onto me. And once I could understand that if my behavior that I was doing of just compulsively eating and just not doing things that make me feel my best, I was feeding the shame and the guilt. Once I could understand that to stop feeling shameful and guilty, I had to forgive myself, and I understand that they were here to teach me something. And the lesson that they taught me is that it's okay to slip up. It's okay to fall off track, but you have to understand that it's also possible to get back on track. It's also possible to turn the situation around. So that's exactly what I did, and I feel a lot better. But I came out of that situation with a lot of clarity, understanding that we, in a way, feed our own self-sabotage by the things we do. We kind of attach onto feelings of shame, guilt, fear, and that is feeding our own self-sabotage, and we're not aware that we're doing it. And once we can sit back and observe the situation, we'll understand how that's all being played out. So the next time you slip up or you fall off track, it's okay. See what it's trying to teach you, see the message in it, and just really understand that there's 2 sides of the story. You can choose to look at it from a different perspective and make that shame and that guilt not a part of you and not make it your story. And you can just observe it, feel what you need to feel, and just release it and let it go. So now how do we get back on track? We get back on track is by just restarting. and just repeating whatever the habitual patterns that we've been doing while we were on track, and to just understand you can't get back on track without first understanding why you got off track. So observe the reasons why you fell off on track. And for me, it was that slice of pizza, and the minute I ate it, the shame and the guilt came in, so I felt like I needed to self-sabotage myself and self-destruct myself to keep the feeling of shame and guilt alive, because that's the only way I was feeding it. And once I could step back and realize that this is what was going on, I chose to make a different decision. I chose to let go of it, release it, and get back on track and put my focus on moving forward on purpose and choosing to think from the end, consciously thinking of the end result of something that I was doing. So if I was going to go eat another pizza, I would think, how would that make me feel in the end? Not so good. I would not feel happy, I would not feel satisfied, I would just feel blah. So consciously thinking from the end helps you to understand why you shouldn't do something. That was my little story, and share with me below how you have let shame and guilt keep you in this phase of self-destruction and self-loathing. And if you like this video, please like it, and if you like watching my videos, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye.